All right, let's jump right into this explainer with a scenario that, honestly, you probably know way too well. Picture this. You're being voluntarily paralyzed by a tiny purring furball. You absolutely would not dare move that 4-kilogram predator resting on your chest. I mean, you could move it easily, right? But you're just not going to do it. Moving it would feel kind of cruel. So somehow, this tiny animal has engineered a situation where a creature literally 10 times its size has voluntarily completely immobilized itself. Just for them. When you really step back and look at the whole picture, I'm talking about the billions of dollars we spend every single year on premium food, the ridiculous toys, the sheer amount of emotional labor we do for a species that, let's be real, can barely be bothered to acknowledge us. You really have to ask who is actually in charge here. Did we domesticate them? Or did they domesticate us? Section 1. The Domestication Myth. Rethinking 10,000 Years of History. Now, the standard textbook story claims that humans cleverly domesticated cats to control rodents in early agricultural settlements. But to figure out what actually went down, we first need to look at what biological domestication genuinely requires. By definition, true domestication is this process of modifying a wild species through human-controlled selective breeding, right? The goal is to make them genetically distinct from their wild ancestors. Essentially, it's about humans actively playing the sculptor and shaping the animal. And this brings us to a crazy comparison. Think about dogs. We heavily reshaped them over tens of thousands of years in hundreds of highly measurable physical and cognitive ways. But cats? Cats are virtually unchanged genetically from their wild ancestor, Felis libica. They are, for all intents and purposes, operating just as wild animals, just in a slightly different social setup. We literally didn't reshape them at all. So the key takeaway here is that cats were definitely not shaped by us. Instead, they found this incredibly resource-rich environment, basically early human settlements, and they just moved in and colonized it. The cats that were best suited to hanging around humans simply survived and thrived. It wasn't us carefully selecting for specific traits. No, it was cats taking advantage of a brilliant real estate opportunity. It's wild to think about.
Moving on to Section 2, an unequal exchange, the forensic accounting of pet ownership.
If we actually look at the ledger of this relationship, the deal is genuinely hilariously lopsided. Just look at the human side. We provide massive ongoing financial and labor investments. We're talking premium food, heated beds, shelter, protection from predators, and ridiculously expensive veterinarian care that artificially extends their lifespans. And what do we get in return? Well, the cat simply continues its own self-interested wild behaviors. I mean, they hunted small mammals before we came along, and they just kept doing it. Sure, they provide companionship, but it is strictly on their own terms. When you weigh out, we are providing substantially more to the cat than the cat is providing to us. No question. Which brings us to Section 3, Tools of Manipulation, how 4-kilogram predators hacked us. To understand exactly how they scored this magnificent deal, you have to look at their highly sophisticated biological and behavioral arsenal. It is practically a masterclass in manipulation, specifically calibrated to target human psychology. Over thousands of years, they've developed a suite of behaviors that trigger incredibly precise emotional and physical responses in us. Let's start with the classic meow. Honestly, it is genuinely astonishing that adult wild cats don't even use the meow with each other. Domestic cats specifically developed this human-targeted vocalization for one reason. It contains acoustic frequencies that are remarkably similar to human infant distress cries. It completely hacks our specific auditory sensitivities and literally forces our brains to respond with immediate attention and caregiving. We can't help it. And then, of course, there's the slow blink. This is a brilliant evolutionary tactic. This little half-closing of the eyes acts as an affiliative trust marker. What does that mean? It means it hacks our neural systems, activating our social bonding machinery to make us feel genuine connection and positive regard. And it does this entirely without the complexities of actual human-to-human interaction. It manufactures this intense feeling of being loved, which, you guessed it, makes us want to provide them with even more resources. But arguably, the most powerful tool in their entire arsenal is the purr. The purr has its acoustic energy concentrated precisely in an incredibly specific biological frequency range, 25 to 50 hertz.
Why does that matter? Because by essentially conducting a continuous, low-frequency biological massage on your nervous system through physical contact, the cat is actively rewarding you with measurable physiological health benefits. Research on therapeutic vibration actually shows that this specific frequency range promotes bone density, accelerates soft tissue healing, reduces your blood pressure, and lowers cortisol and stress levels. They aren't just making a pleasant rumbling sound. They are physically altering your stress physiology to keep you compliant, relaxed, and healthy enough to keep serving them.
That leads perfectly into Section 4, Hacking Human Biology, the Parental Instinct Takeover. Through thousands of years of living side by side, cats have perfectly infiltrated our biological caregiving systems. Honestly, we never really stood a chance. They present a masterclass in stimuli. Think about it. They have relatively large eyes, rounded juvenile faces that subconsciously remind us of human infants, and those high-pitched infant-like cries we just talked about. They've essentially hijacked our deepest parental instinct systems for the sole purpose of extracting resources from us. This dynamic becomes incredibly obvious when we compare them to dogs. A dog is deeply pro-social. They have this mutual dependence, they get super distressed when you leave, and they will eagerly and happily accommodate your schedule. A cat? A cat's attachment is entirely resource-based. A cat demands that you completely adapt to their schedule. They interact when they want, exactly how they want, and they will withdraw the literal second their preferences are satisfied. And finally, Section 5, Who Sets the Terms? The Ultimate Conqueror. Looking back at history, humans have consistently shown a massive revealed preference to just worship and serve feline kind. I mean, look at this timeline. From the Egyptian goddess Bastet in 3000 BCE, to the Norse goddess Freya in 800 CE, to the iconic Maneki Neko figurines in Japan in the 1800s, right up to the absolute overwhelming dominance of cat videos on the early internet. Think about that. Given a blank canvas of revolutionary global communication technology, humanity overwhelmingly chose to use it to share videos of cats. As evolutionary biologists point out, every great domestication produces humans who completely reorganize their lives, their furniture layouts, their sleep schedules, and their finances to accommodate the animal. We have organized our entire domestic existence around providing resources to them. We work for them, not the other way around. So the very next time you find yourself trapped under a purring 4-kilogram predator on your couch and you deliberately choose not to move because you just don't want to disturb it, you really have to look at the science and ask yourself, who actually domesticated whom?